Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I help freelancers grow their businesses. This topic was requested by my online friend Bonnie, so thank you, Bonnie. I hope you find this helpful. Okay, so a lot of people who want to freelance already have a 9-to-5 job. Usually the immediate question is, how do I do both? Now, if you're having a hard time juggling both a full-time job and your freelancing gigs, you're not alone. It's really hard. It's a lot of work. This video has two parts, all right? So first we're going to talk about how you can freelance on the side if you're mostly happy at your 9-to-5 and you just want to have a side hustle. And then we're going to talk about how you can transition from your 9-to-5 job to freelancing full-time. Sound good? All right, so scenario one, you have a 9-to-5, you're mostly happy, you plan to stick around, but you just want to freelance on the side, maybe to make a little bit of extra cash. Sweet, great. This is very doable, but there are a couple of things that I want you to consider. First, you need to remember that you're going to be freelancing with limited time and energy, which is to be expected. If you're working all day and you come home and you're depleted and exhausted, you're not going to sit down at your computer and send rocket ships into outer space, okay? So you probably want to try to focus on freelancing tasks that are more low maintenance. Pick stuff that is within the limited mental bandwidth that you're going to have, and don't bite off more than you can chew. It also needs to be stuff that isn't super time sensitive. So let's say you want to pick up freelancing work as a social media manager. You can't be working with a client that, as an example, wants you responding to direct messages and comments in real time, because during the day you're at your 9-to-5. As another example though, if you can get freelance social media work where maybe you can schedule out posts in advance, that's much more manageable because it's something that you can do in your own time. Now, when we talk about freelancing on the side, usually we're referring to doing this work at nights and on weekends when you're not at your 9-to-5. But let's talk about this a little bit more. Working when you are completely exhausted and stressed out and your brains are fried, you're not going to produce your best work. This usually isn't the most productive approach that you can take. When you are working under those conditions, A, you're not going to be able to produce as much work, and B, the quality is going to suffer. So depending on what you do for your 9-to-5 and also what kind of freelancing work you want to do, you might want to set a boundary with yourself and say, I only freelance on weekends, and leave it at that. And I know that that's a little bit scary because that gives you less time to work, but really what you're doing is optimizing your time. You're going to be more rested and fresh and thus productive. And you might very well find that in just the 2 days of the weekend, you can produce more work and better work than if you were forcing yourself to also work at night after your 9-to-5. If you're going against what your body is telling you, you're going to end up sick and exhausted. Trust me, I did it, and I'm still paying the price for it. Don't overdo it. This is something I talk about a lot in this video, so I'm going to put that link below. Really, freelancing on the side, a big part of that is just managing your expectations. Now, what if you want to leave your 9-to-5 completely to freelance full-time? I have a somewhat unpopular opinion. A lot of people are going to tell you that if you're really serious and you're really committed, you should quit your 9-to-5 so that you can jump into freelancing head first. Don't do it. I want to be very clear here before we keep going. I am not talking about people who are in extremely toxic work environments, who are maybe like being mistreated, who are very unhappy. I'm not talking about those extremes. That's another conversation. There will be exceptions when dropping your 9-to-5 for the sake of your own health is maybe the best thing to do. But I'm just talking about the average employee that's like, I'm sick of my 9-to-5, I want to freelance, okay? That's who I'm speaking to right now. While the idea of quitting your full-time job to focus solely on freelancing definitely sounds nice, the truth is most of us aren't in the position financially. We don't have the luxury to do that, okay? We can't give up our full-time paycheck to start building up a freelancing business. The last thing you want to do is walk away from your full-time income, which then puts you in a financially insecure position, and then you are desperate for freelance work. and you are accepting jobs and accepting clients out of fear and lack and desperation, and you start making poor choices because you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Been there, done that. It's a nasty road to go down. Now you might be thinking, well, I've got a little money saved up. I could just quit and live on that. Depending on how much you have, yeah, you could, but if you plan to quit and live off of savings, you're going to have a ticking clock hanging over your head. And again, you're just placing yourself under unnecessary pressure. My advice is to transition into freelancing full-time. But how? One client at a time. You're going to take the approach that we discussed earlier in this video, where maybe you start by only freelancing on the weekends. Now, I don't want you to focus on replacing your 9-to-5 income. I want you to focus on landing one client at a time. That is way more manageable and way less overwhelming. And if you focus on that, if you focus on just getting one client after the next, and you put one foot in front of the other, eventually, by default, you will replace that income. Now, of course, this means that you're going to be building up your freelancing business while working full-time, and you're going to hit a point where you are really busy because you're essentially going to be doing 2 jobs. How do you manage that? Let's go through an example to try to illustrate this a little better. So let's say you have your 9-to-5 and it pays you $5,000 a month, and you start freelancing on the side, just taking up gigs on the weekends. Maybe you're making $1,000 a month, and then you're making $1,500, and then you're making $2,500 a month from freelancing, and you're slowly climbing. You are going to hit a tipping point where you have to choose one or the other because you're going to run out of hours in the day. If over the last several months you have been consistently landing and keeping clients, I'm going to repeat this part because this is the most important part. If you are consistently landing and hanging on to clients, as you're approaching that $5,000 a month, once you're close-ish to it, you're probably okay to quit your full-time job because your trend, your patterns are showing us that you know how to land and keep clients, and you're going to hit $5,000 a month probably sooner rather than later. And that's when you can leave your 9-to-5 and you won't be under all of this crazy pressure. Is it easy? No, not usually. Are you going to be working a ton for a minute there? Yeah, absolutely. But you got to bear in mind here that when we're talking about freelancing, you're building up your own business. You're going to own this thing that ideally sustains you for years and years and years to come. And you're going to be your own boss, which is awesome. So, in my opinion anyway, it's worth that temporary sacrifice of working like a dog for that long-term benefit. And like I said, it should be temporary, okay? You're not going to be working like this forever. There are a few videos that I want you to check out next because if you like this video, these are going to help you. First, go check out this video on Essentialism. The whole concept behind this is do less but better. And that concept is going to be really, really important for you if you plan on trying to juggle a full-time job and freelancing. If you are brand new to freelancing, go check out this video. This video is going to help you create a portfolio, even if you've never had a paying client. You do not need a website right now as a freelancer, okay? It's not a priority, but you do need samples. And if you want to learn more about online side hustles in general, go check out this video. And of course, I've got tons and tons of content on landing clients, which is hands down the part that freelancers struggle with the most. So just head back to my main video page and scroll through those videos. You're never alone on this journey. You have me, you have lots of other freelancers all across the world. If you want a supportive community to be a part of, then I do have a LinkedIn group for freelancers specifically, so I will drop that link below. And if you want to work directly with me to land clients as a freelancer, then you might be interested in my program, Revenue Spark, the Client Accelerator. I will teach you my entire process from start to finish to take the guesswork out of landing clients so that you can focus on making money doing something you enjoy. If you made it this far, it means you liked this video, and I would be very grateful if you could give it a thumbs up and help support my channel. If you have any questions, just drop them in a comment below, and I'll see you next time.